Thank you, everyone, for joining live and for those that will be watching on the replay. Um, we have 1 week in the books already. The season is going to go by very, very fast, as it always does. The thing that we should be keeping in mind going from week 1 to week 2 is that the most progress we're going to make all year individually and as a crew is going to be between week 1 and week 2. Because it lays a foundation for us. As hard as we work during the off season, there were things that happened in your first game that you didn't anticipate in terms of preparation that you now realize you need to fix or improve upon. So we need to make sure that we're doing a good job with our previous week, and we've identified 3, 4 things that we want to clean up either as a crew and or as an individual. The games this week I thought were really competitive for the most part. Some really very top programs took on other top programs, which is always good, and it put good athletes in front of us, and that helps us as well. So I want to talk just very briefly about the importance of dealing with assistant officials. And what I mean by that is our chain crew, our clock operators, ball people, if you have them, the importance of talking with them ahead of time and holding them accountable for what they're supposed to be doing for us during the game. We can't allow those assistants to get in the way of our administration of the contest. Now, the one that came up this week that drew the most attention was that we had some clock operators, whether they were brand new, whether they were socializing over what they'd done all summer, who knows? But we had some people that were underperformed. And the only thing that we can really do is to make sure that we do our due diligence before the game to communicate with those game administration people previously mentioned. And when they are underperforming, we have to get their attention. And particularly with the clocks, we need to stop the game, and we need to make announcements that please reset the game clock to a certain amount of time if they let it run when they shouldn't have, or if they didn't start the clock on time, make the adjustment the other way. But you get on the field, Mike, if you have one, to get it done. What that's going to do is it's going to draw attention to them up there, and the fact that we need more from them than what we're getting. Same thing with the play clock. If we are getting incorrect, like we should be in a 40 cycle and we have a 25, we need to bring that to their attention. Likewise, if we're not getting it started on a proper basis, we need to get that corrected. If necessary, we need to go do a refresher course at halftime with clock operators or chain crews or whatever. The bottom line is we got to fix it as early as possible so that it doesn't become an issue later on when it counts the most. So, and of course, whenever you're having problems with any of those individuals, or for that matter, you're not getting the support of game administration to get people away from the field, that needs to be included in the game report so it makes its way back to the respective coordinator. So let's make sure we take care of that business week in, week out, and it's not good enough. Well, the crew last week didn't care. Well, can't speak to that, but today it does matter. So just deal with your business. All right, thanks to everyone that supplied clips. We had clips from, by my count, at least 6 different people, which truly is appreciated. And we had so many clips, not only by my own volition, but especially those who contributed, that we won't be able to use them all. So please don't feel slighted if all of your clips are not used. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with a couple of holding plays, and I've got a couple of them back to back. And what I want to do is to draw some compare and contrast. So Gregor, this should be referee you, and the first clip should be 12. Now, on this first one, we're going to get action at the bottom of the screen. And this wide receiver is going to lock up on the DB. And it looks like he's probably a superior athlete, bigger, stronger, faster than the DB. And certainly there's some restriction there. But as you can see, the runner is pretty much past that restriction, and he's already in the grasp of a defender, and he's going to be tackled for essentially no gain. So this is not a foul that we want called because it doesn't take something away from the team. So this would be a good talk to, I think that's number 2 in white. So we would go to him and say, hey, if the circumstances were different, that would have been a foul for holding. So, make sure that you don't get grabby with your hands. So make it a talk to so the kid knows that we are watching. All right, now this next clip, by contrast, is a correct call. We're going to get a hold out here. And clearly this is going to be at point of attack, and it's going to have a bearing on this player's ability to play football. You can see he locks him up right there. Hands outside the frame, and we get a flag down. So that is one that is a correct call. We want that called. It checks all the boxes: visible, material, grab and restrict, and it took something away from that player and that team's ability, and we ended up with a gain that should not have occurred. Okay, so those two are important to draw the contrast to, and we should be working on this so that this becomes second nature to us as a crew. All right, the next one is going to be dealing with some punt mechanics. Now, what we're going to get is a punt that's going to be muffed. And if we look at the work of the deep three, they're in good position to begin this play. They have good cushions. The deep wing would have, on the respective side of the field, would have those blocks from the flyer. But what we get, and the end zone view will show it, is that we're going to get a muff by the kick returner. Now, we know that the kicking team can only recover a muff. They may not advance the muff. The only way team A is going to be able to advance a ball would be if we have a catch, a clear catch, completed the process of the catch, and then we had a running play and a fumble resulting from it. So the ball belongs to team A at the point of the recovery. Now, that spot is not critical. Sure, we want to get it close, but team A is just really, really happy that they're retaining the ball. Now, back judge is in good position and drops a beanbag. Now, the beanbag signals that we had a fumble. We don't drop a beanbag for muffs, all right? We make a mental note of where this ball was recovered, and we'll bring it back to that spot and give team A the ball. The other thing is, again, we will get a spot. The big thing is that we stay with players. Now, this ends fairly quickly, and fortunately, the players separate quickly, but trust me, it will not always happen that way. And somebody's upset already about what took place. So it's primed for a problem. So we won't get concerned as a back judge in terms of coming up and taking the spot of the recovery. Stay with the players, finish the play, and then we'll figure it out accordingly. All right, next clip should be number 42. Now, this is going to be a proper mechanic, and I know it's a little dark. We're getting close to dusk. The deep wing comes up, recognizes this dead ball spot at the bottom of the screen. He comes up from the bottom and is going to take this inside the 2. Now, as we talked about during the summer, we need to communicate with our short wing. Mine, I got the spot, whatever you want to say. And then what the short wing needs to do is to stop at the 5-yard line. We get no benefit from the short wing coming down to the 1 yard line and then following the deep wing into the spot. Our benefit is for him to stop at the 5, which gives him a better angle in terms of watching the players as this play comes to a conclusion rather than walking behind him. Okay. All right. Next clip is number, I believe it's 79. This is going to be a really good read and react by our deep wing at the top of the screen. He sees it, he gets going. I don't know that we have made a full commitment to it, but must be close. He knew where the goal line was. He gets there. The back judge is already stationary at the goal line. Pretty well done, recognizing this is a fade pattern. Yeah, see, he's not going full bore just yet. Once you recognize that, go into overdrive, get to your goal line, get stationary, and wait for the action to get to the goal line. And the reason why we're doing that is the potential of a fumble somewhere around the goal line, the ball getting knocked out from behind, and or that the pylon is going to be threatened. If we are stationary at goal line extended, those plays become a lot easier for us to officiate. So don't go into cruise mode. That's a bad habit to get into. Bust it, get there, get set, and then receive the play. All right, next clip should be fumble mechanics. We had a little bit of everything this week. We had some overtime games. We had some fumble mechanics to deal with. We had some penalty enforcements. So it gave us a chance to work on all those things we've been talking about throughout the summer. Okay, pretty clearly a catch, and the ball is stripped. Now the ball goes near the sideline. This is where we have to make sure as deep wings that we keep our cushion and that we are able to ascertain where the players are. By rule, as soon as that loose ball is touched by a player, whether it's A or B, that is out of bounds, we know that is a dead ball. So in that situation, because we did not have a change of possession, the ball is going to belong to Team A at the forward spot of where it was touched while that player was out of bounds. Ball comes loose. The green team attempts to recover it. The deep wing has recognized that we have a body part out of bounds, is waiting for the short wing to come up. He's waiting for this play to finish up, players to clear, and then he's going to confirm with the short wing, yep, that we have to correct it. See, the short wing is signaling the other way. Obviously did not see the Team B player with body part down out of bounds. So the deep wing is going to come in, provide the information, and we're going to reverse this back to possession for Team A. Good teamwork. Good timing. We don't need to hurry into this. And referees, what we're going to do at the end of this play, if you have a field mic, is to say the ruling on the field is a fumble out of bounds. The defense recovered with a body part out of bounds. Therefore, it belongs to Team A, second down or third down and 2, whatever it happens to be. Then you're going to mark the ball ready for play, and we're going to go. All right. Last one here is reverse mechanics out of this package. What we're going to get is an interception at the top of the screen. You can see that the deep wing gives ground, and now this gets deflected, and now he's coming up. This is like a punt return. So he's going to come up and take our forward progress spot. The short wing did a very nice job, gave ground, was ahead of this action, and would have been prepared to receive this play at the goal line had it gone that far. So nice job recognizing reverse mechanics. Okay, while we're transitioning to our next package, which Gregor is MHSA football officials, do we have questions so far? We're going quickly, so use the chat if something comes up that you want to spend some more time on. The idea here is that we're providing a number of topics for you to think about, talk about, and consider. All right, so this first clip is going to be a pass out of shotguns. Now, notice this is 4th down and 5, and it's deep in Team A's territory. This is why teams like to use the quick kick if they have the athlete to do it, usually the quarterback. So what the quarterback is going to do is to read whether he thinks he's got a good opportunity to complete this pass for a first down. And if he doesn't like, and you can see we only have one defensive back over there that's covering 2 guys. So he reads that correctly, that this is going to be a pretty easy pitch and catch for a first down. If there are 2 defenders over there, he probably lets the team know that he's going to kick the ball. And we're going to see in another clip here in just a minute where when the choice is going to be to kick the ball, to punt the ball, the quarterback, the person receiving the snap, usually takes a couple of steps deep to give himself a little more room to kick the ball. But we have to be prepared to deal with this. Now, had we had early contact, even though deep wing on that side or the back judge, you may have been considerably deeper than you typically are. Distance is our friend. So if you have a foul, just get the flag going in the general direction. And again, we'll relocate the flag and get it where it needs to be if we have a spot foul. And of course, we can always have help from our short wing. All right, next clip. Here's going to be an example where our back judge is going to backpedal too long. And consequently, this is going to get up in his grill. Okay, see, we're backpedaling, and all of a sudden we need to turn. And we do get there, but back judges don't fall in love with your backpedal. The idea is you do it for a few strides to read, but as soon as you recognize that we got a pass that's coming this far downfield, transition to your running or shuffling. You should know by now that it's dangerous when you're backpedaling, when you have to transition to running. That's when you're going to trip, get your feet caught up, and end up on the turf, and that's not where we need you to be. So just be aware that in this particular instance, we backpedaled too long. All right, next one is going to involve goal line mechanics for the deep wing. Now, notice that our deep wing is in the white, which is fine at this point. But as this play develops, well, he kind of moves off the goal line a little bit. But the first item of business when you're out and you're surveying the field, get those orange markers back to the track, at least at the goal line. Here would be a case where rather than the choice that our back judge made would be to back straight up off the goal line to what would be the limit line. So now you're 12 feet off of the sideline and the pylon. This would make this decision a lot easier. You know, he has to look down to see those feet. If you're 12 feet off the sideline, you're going to be able to see the ball and the feet and have a much better confirmation that everything is good. The catch has been completed, firm control. See, the players are by him at this particular point. That's too quick. So if you'll move back, you'll give yourself more time and your accuracy will go way up. Now, let's say in this particular instance that the process of the catch is not completed, it's bobbled, it's dropped, whatever. Back judge, you've got to come in. Might be the short wing that might see this. We got to come down, provide the information, and get this corrected if we've made a mistake. You are the replay on the field until you get to Ford Field, and then you get some additional support. But we got to stick together and make sure that we provide information to get plays correct when we have information. All right, next clip. Here's going to be a case where our back judge is going to come up and want to get involved in forward progress. Pretty standard catch. This is a low impact tackle. There's just really nothing going on here. Let the umpire do his job. Let the umpire come up, spot this ball. Back judges stay out of this, keep the big picture perspective. There's nothing going on here, so there's no harm. But if you remember, in the past, we've shown a clip where Team A wants to go fast, made a first down, and the back judge or one of the deep officials wasn't in position to begin the play. So don't buy yourself a problem. I compliment the back judge for hustle and all of that, but sometimes you can hustle yourself right into a bad situation. So stay out of it, let the umpire come up, handle the business, and everybody will be happier. Okay, next play is going to be a good quick reaction at the goal line. Now notice 4th down and about 4. Offense is going to see if they can get the defense to jump into the neutral zone to get a cheap first down. That doesn't happen. They check with the sideline. Quarterback communicates to his teammates. It's going to take 2 steps back. Right now, deep 3, that is your cue that you're about to see a quick kick. So I wouldn't by no means turn your back, but I would start giving some ground here in the event that what happens here where the goal line gets threatened. Now we handle this really well at the goal line. The back judge gets back to the goal line in plenty of time, and the deep wing at the bottom of the screen is right where he belongs. We've got this bracketed really well. We can see that the first player from Team A makes a legal bat backwards that keeps the ball out of the end zone. Right here, nice job. It's not the NFL rule where you can't go into the end zone. It's federation and college rules. So he keeps the ball out of the end zone. Now, let's say for the sake of discussion that this ball breaks the plane of the goal line. We know by federation rule, as soon as this ball breaks the plane, and certainly as soon as it touches the end zone, we have a dead ball and a touchback. So we have to be prepared for that possibility. Here it didn't happen. So now the next player coming down can actually down the ball. And probably I would say the chances are that we're going to end up where the ball is downed rather where it was first touched. Because it would appear to me that where it actually is downed is at about the 1 yard line, and probably the touch keeping it out of the end zone was at the 1 foot line. Good alert by the deep 3 and the way we want to handle a quick kick. Okay. All right, next clip. All right, now we're going to have a back judge's key is out here, and it's number 1. You saw the action right at the 45-yard line. So from a key standpoint, that second receiver in belongs to the back judge. This is in the second half, so line judge is at the bottom of the screen. And when he goes, even if it was the other way around, when the running back goes in motion, now the back judge's initial key has shifted from top to bottom. All right. Now, the initial engagement is okay. But then you can see that the defensive player defeats the block, and the solution for the blocker is to take him to the turf. Now, short wing, even though this is not your key, the focus now is not automatically staying with your key. Initially, yes, but then point of attack and other factors dominate and take precedence over your initial key. And now we're working at the point of attack. This would have been a great play for our short wing to recognize that this defensive player gets hauled down. Now, I'll give him a little bit of a pass. Maybe he got to this late, didn't see the whole thing. And I would rather have you pass if you don't see the whole block. But on the other hand, if you do see it, don't be afraid to put it in there, even though it's not your key. Back judge will thank you for supporting him, because this gets pretty deep and it looks like there may have been some traffic that would have got into his field of vision. But this is a foul we want called. It's point of attack. It's a takedown. Clearly affected this player's ability to play and resulted in probably a 4 to 5 yard gain that they weren't entitled to. All righty. Next one should be 106. All right, what we're going to get here is an intended short kick. Now, we know if this kick goes deep, we're not going to mess around with this encroachment that happens on the opposite side from the press box. So this is probably our umpire over here. If this is a deep kick, no problem. We're going to let it go. But when it's a short kick, we're going to referee it as a pane of glass. And you can see that we have at least one, if not multiple players that have broken the plane. And a good indication of that is if you can't see the football, there's probably a good chance that you've got players that are now in your way, which has prevented you from seeing it, and therefore you have encroachment. So we're going to shut that down. All right, next one is also going to be a short kick. This is later in the game. No problem there. We've got 4 on both sides, at least 4. Good job by our deep wing. Now, the only thing that I would say is go slow. Make sure you have firm control. We have a tendency to get excited here. This is another one of those plays where maybe our pulse rate is going to go up. So let's not be in a hurry to blow this dead, because if you don't see leather, don't put the whistle in your mouth, and certainly don't put air in that whistle. Now, the other thing that I want to point out is look to the far left of the screen. We can't have 7 sets of eyes watching what's going on over on the other side of the field, because we have a cheap shot that is executed by a member of the kicking team against a player that is clearly out of the play. And this is one that we need to get from not only a safety standpoint, but a game control standpoint. Bad blood comes from these kinds of things, particularly when we don't get foul stop. I'm not saying this is disqualifying. It's not that egregious, but it's certainly one that we need to get. All right, should be at 1-8, or excuse me. This should be number 4. We want to look at dead ball mechanics here. We're going to get a play that's going to go to the top of the screen. For the most part. All right, that's not the one that I expected. Might be the next one, Gregor. Is that number 4?
Yeah, it's number 4. Are you talking about number 11 down here? If you watch number 11 here, I'll go slow.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Now, again, there's not a safety issue here, but it just ticks people off. And it's just follow this action so that we get this nipped in the bud right off the bat. Thanks, Gregor. Good to have an extra pair of eyes there. All right, clip 100. Our back judge is going to get beaten badly here. We got our feet in concrete. We have a pass that goes deep. We don't react to it. We trail it. Fortunately, it ends up being a pretty obvious touchdown, but we have to be more alert and make sure that we get to places where we need to be. And here, we should have read this. We should have had an awareness of where the quarterback was throwing the ball so that we cover that play properly at the goal line. All right, now we're going to look at 3 Next three plays are going to involve DPI. And what we want to talk about, well, if we go back to what we did this summer on foul selection, quality fouls, make it be there, we talked about the importance of consistency, individually and especially as a crew. So what we're going to have is one play that happens in the first quarter, or excuse me, first half, and the receiver is coming from the center of the field, and we have a little bit of contact, um, not enough to justify a foul. We pass on it properly. All right, now here's the key factor. Members of the deep three for sure, and hopefully the whole crew should take note of that and go, okay, yep, we need to have a high standard for what we're going to do with uh, potential DPI. All right. So the standard has been set that it's going to take intent to impede being obvious where we're going to have a foul. All right. So now let's go to the second clip. All right. So now we get a flag down. Now, are they identical plays? No, but they're similar plays. All right. So we've got the defensive back that's trailing. Clearly, there's some contact there. Now, if we've got a grab of a shirt, if we have held the receiver back on his route or something like that, all right, that's a horse of a different color, but it does not appear to be the case here. And the defensive back simply reaches in and deflects the ball out in front of this receiver. Again, we've set a high bar with that first play that occurred. So here, the preferred call is no call. Just make this incomplete. We want DPI to be obvious with impeding or some other factor that involves the receiver's ability to play the ball. Here, we've got a good play by the defensive back. All right, next clip also involves DPI. Now, again, there's a little bit of contact there, but does this action by the defensive back deny this player's the opportunity to play the ball? No, he gets out in front of that and deflects it. So here are three opportunities where if we dial them up as incomplete, we've remained true to our mission of having a high standard. All right. So first game, our opportunity here to grow and improve, we need to talk about consistency of fouls within the crew and within a category. That includes holding, blocks in the back, anything that is a non-safety or sporting situation. We want to have crew consistency beginning of the game through the end. Okay. All right, moving on. Clip number 82 is going to be a catch, no catch situation. And what we're going to get here, first of all, that action at about the 30-yard line, we're not going to deal with that. That has absolutely nothing to do with the game. Now, somebody might get excited about it. It just looks like a collision between two athletes. The ball isn't going to either one of them. That's nothing. Don't try to make a purse out of a sow's ear. Just talk to them, make sure they clear, and away we go. All right. So the pass goes to the underneath receiver, and he's not had an opportunity to put the ball away. He has it in his hands, but he's not been able to bring it into his body and do something common to the game. And the crew makes a very good decision, a correct decision, simply making this incomplete. Good job. All right, number 21. This is going to be a really interesting punt. We're going to have a lot of traffic down here. So the first thing we're doing, deep wings, you've got these two flyers. All right, so the flyer to the bottom of the screen, while there's contact, there just really isn't anything here that would come even close to the level of where we're going to flag this. The action at the top of the screen is in question. You know, do we have grab and restrict, or has the flyer been able to come down the field? Clearly, we have outside of the frame of the body, maybe some contact there that would warrant a foul at about the 50. I would say that the contact at the 45 was not enough. I would have supported a foul for what the Team B player did to the flyer around the 50. All right, so be it as it may, we didn't have a foul there. We need to continue including this play that happens, this block right in front of the kick returner that starts at about the 50-yard line. And hopefully what we have done is we've seen this beginning to end and we've recognized it as being chase mode. All right. He's not in contact with this guy. The team A player has defeated him, is inside of him. So we know by philosophy for this block to be legal, it's got to be 100% from the side. And clearly here it is not. It's a push in the back that we could have and should have got. So let's talk about the timing of this. Deep wings understand that until the back judge has cleared the catch, he is not going to be able to help. That is too quick of a transition for that back judge to get the block in the back. We've got to recognize that situation, deep wings, and for that matter, short wings, maybe even the umpire, to realize that the back judge must make sure that we have a running play, that if this ball comes loose, it's going to be a fumble, not a muff. So we need to help with that action right in the middle of the field. Now, that's a trouble area. Certainly, we recognize that, but we do need to step up and get a flag down when we need one from one of those five other people, either one of the deep wings or the short wings, or maybe even the umpire if he is spun quickly enough. All right, then we also end up with a blindside block that you probably have noticed since we've watched this clip several times. It's going to be towards the top of the screen. Now, this play may have developed far enough that our deep wing would be able to get a look at it. I don't think so. This is a foul that I would expect our short wing or our umpire to pick up until we get a little further into the return, because the deep wing at the top of the screen is going to be busy with the action, the blocks that he's already had. So short wings anticipate that and be prepared to make a judgment on actions such as this. Same thing with the umpire. Definitely blindside block is a safety issue that we want to make sure that we get. So give that the proper amount of attention. And boom, here it comes. Uh, um, that's one that we needed to get at about the 45-yard line. All right, so as the play develops, we have reverse mechanics. Deep wing is going to take forward progress. You can see that our short wing does a nice job with retreating and staying ahead of this, so that if this had gone all the way, he would have been at the goal line. Not in the picture at this point. There he is right there at about the 12. He comes up, recognizes we've got opponents in the bench, comes up and helps clean out the area and get opponents out of that enemy's bench. Good play to look at. Whether you watch this live or you're going to see the recording, feel free to break this down further, either individually or as a crew, and talk about who's going to be looking where, transitions that will help us moving forward in our games to recognize when we have potential fouls. All right, next clip,
Hey, Rich, can I ask you a question on this?
please do.
Looks like the dark team here, there's a coach and a player that notices that block in the back you're noticing. And since this is the deep wing spot, we've got coach and player down here walking up. It looks like they're walking up towards the official who's jogging to them. So the official needs to go get that spot and dead ball officiate. Are you saying anything that coach on your way down? Like, I'll be right back with you. Are you just hustling down to get that spot? Are you hustling out into the field to go dead ball officiate these players? What's that deep wing on the bottom of the screen doing in this moment?
Well, first of all, the play has developed on the other side of the field. And while we don't want to lollygag behind the play, we don't have as much responsibility for um, the spot out of bounds. At least in this instance, we don't. Um, so we can afford to run around the coach, maybe the player. Um, I would say don't stop your officiating to address that until the play is over. You might even say to him, "I'll be back when the play is over," and then finish the play, and then come back and have the conversation. Is that what you're going for, Gregor? I
Yep,
don't
that's what I was going for. Thank you.
I don't see at least what's on camera to rise to the level of a foul or even a sideline warning.
Right. It looks like he's, still in the white. And so, yeah, I was just curious. You run around him, you're stopping there. So thanks for answering that.
Yeah, you can clearly see them if you were following the play on this side of the field and you ran into one of them, that would be sideline interference. That'd be an automatic. Alrighty, this should be 43. What we're going to get is a jet screen. We have motion towards the trip side, which gives an additional blocker over there. And um, so we have blocking that we have to deal with, back judge and deep wing on that side of the field. And obviously, we're going to have the deep wing handle blocks that are closest to the sideline, which would be number 11. That looks okay. I don't see a foul there. The back judge should be looking at the possible engagement of the player that was from the hash to the numbers. All right, now multitasking, as we've talked about, we have the responsibility for keeping our cushion, knowing that the runner may break this while we're watching this block, but then we have to finish this play, and we should be able to see this defender. I believe it's number 24 that's going to come in, and if we have 2 feet out of bounds by the runner, this is going to be a foul. And you can see that he comes in, lights this guy up. He's clearly out of bounds. This is one that we need to get for UNR late hit. So here, the deep wing would have 3 things to do: an awareness of where the runner is, an awareness of players in that general zone in terms of their blocking, and then pick up the action that happens out of bounds. And we should see crossing our face, flashing in front of us, number 24. All right. Now, back judge comes over to support this, recognizing that this could be a safety situation, could also be a sporting situation. He comes over properly and is prepared to support if necessary. Now, as soon as back judges, as soon as you see that the temperature has gone down and that we have people coming back to the field, want you to stop. Don't continue to move after you have the outcome that you are looking for. Okay. Then we're just simply drifting. Move with purpose. And to the credit of Team A, this clears up and we get those. I don't know if that's deep navy blue or black with the jerseys, but we get them out of the bench back towards the field. All righty. This next one, first of all, I want to point out this formation. All right. Now, this is not the worst formation I've ever seen, but this is a field that is very, very well marked. This happens to be their home field. Now, does that make that much difference in terms of home or away? No. But in a real sense, if we're looking at this in a technical sense, you have 5 backs. Now, I think what they're intending to do here is that the wide receiver at the bottom appears to be the split end. let's help him get where he needs to go. Okay. Now, the reason why I have this in here, and we have a few line of scrimmage people on the call, or we'll watch it by the recording. This is your job to get formations legal if you possibly can. So get that wide receiver's attention with an extended foot to say, if you're on the line, come up to my foot. Help them get where they need to be to keep us from having to call an administrative foul. This also could be a talk to. This is still fairly, well, it's flip 55, I guess. So we're deep into the second quarter. We should have things pretty well figured out by now. But clean up our formations. That way, when it really counts the most, we've already done the hard work. All right, now the other thing that we're going to have here is we're going to have a correct call for DPI. This is going to be early contact. Now, I don't know what happened earlier in the game, but here's a situation where the defender clearly has his back to the receiver and the ball. Now, not playing the ball is not a category for DPI. So don't write on your penalty report not playing the ball without an additional factor that makes it a foul. It's early contact, it's a cutoff, it's hook and turn, it's something else in addition to simply not playing the ball. But this is one that we need to get. You can see that the defensive player continues to move into the frame of the receiver attempting to catch this football. Pretty easy call for DPI. Now, if the pass was a little bit deeper and he had stopped a little bit sooner, the mere fact Federation took face guarding out of the rule book several years ago. So this is not automatically a foul. What makes it a foul is that he gets into the body of the receiver before the ball arrives. So this would be not playing the ball / early contact. All right. What we're going to have here now is a holding foul. This should be clip 62, Gregor. This is going to be at the bottom of the screen. Now it looks pretty physical, number 1 and number 7, but if you look at the actions of number 1, he's got the leverage on this play, and they're both holding on to each other. See, they lock up pretty quickly. That's a nothing. That is not a foul that we want called. Hopefully that's clear. Okay. The fact that one is taller than the other doesn't necessarily mean anything, but there's just nothing there that rises close to what we want for a foul. All right, number 95. This is going to be a kick return. There are a couple things to watch here. There's going to be a blindside block that's going to occur. And then we need to make some decisions in terms of our dead ball priorities. Now, if we're going to get this, we do a good job initially with our positioning. If we're going to get this, we need to have our umpire or our back judge taking the inside people and following them as they proceed towards the ball. They are going to take you to the football. So if you stay with them, you will be looking where you need to look. And we miss a blindside block, a big one, that we needed to get probably from our umpire or our back judge. And then we have to make some determination in terms of how to finish this play. So watch it one more time. There's the blindside block. Ends at about the 43. Does it cut off there, Gregor? Our deep wing has good position at this point. He's starting to give ground. All right, now he's coming up to the dead ball spot. And you can see that the short wing has come up and is squaring it off. We don't need or want the deep wing coming up unless there's something that's on fire there, unless we've got a problem. Now, maybe he came up because the guy came in late, but you can see the players clear pretty quickly. So once again, once you see that players have cleared, come to a stop and then broaden your vision so that you're looking for opposite jersey colors. All right, next clip. This is going to be another catch, no catch. Now, what we're going to get is this ball is there's going to be a second view. Okay. So this ball comes out pretty quickly and the defense scoops it up and it goes in for a score. All right. So the first question is, does he ever put it away? And this will be a better view for us. Does he put it away? No. Can he do something common to the game when the ball comes loose? No. Can't hand it off, can't kick it, can't pass it. So this is by definition what we want for an incomplete pass. All right, so now we allow the return. All right, now if you're the deep wing or the back judge and you're 100% certain with your ruling, come from whatever distance you need to come from with an incomplete signal and your whistle in your mouth, blowing it many, many times. All right, so that we can get the action stopped. Let's say that you're not 100% certain. All right, so we let it play out. And then at the end of the play, we're going to have a crew replay. We're going to circle the wagons, certainly the short wing that's involved here, the deep wing, the back judge, maybe the umpire, maybe even the referee. We're going to come together and we're going to discuss what just occurred. Now, if we come to the conclusion that we need to overturn this to incomplete, then once again, the referee is going to flip on the mic and say the ruling on the field is an incomplete pass, second down and 10 for whatever team that is. Now, the other thing that's important to do that shows a lot of moxie on the part of the crew and helps sell the decision is that we probably have, I would say, at least 5 seconds that come off the clock because we allow the return. So in your announcement referees, in addition to saying the result of the play is an incomplete pass, say, clock operator, please reset the game clock to whatever 5 or 6 seconds, whatever you think it needs to be. It shows that we recognize that, all right, we needed to fix a decision. And because of that, we made a clock adjustment. And then put the ball in play because we made our decision. We're not going to change back to what we had before. We've come to the conclusion. So the quicker we put the ball back in play, we'll get people back to coaching and playing, and we'll go from there. Now, the fact that the people on the other side of the field weren't directly involved in this play doesn't mean that you have this play off. You have jobs to do. You need to supervise players to make sure that they're nowhere close to each other. You need to make sure that you keep the coach or maybe both of the coaches off of the field in their box. There's something for you to do. Maybe you have some input to bring to the conversation. If you do, bring it, but find something to do. All right, next clip. All right, we're going to talk about blocking zones on a kickoff here. And what we're going to get is action. And the runner fortunately goes down. But again, keep in mind what we're doing. We have our back judge and our umpire that are coming into the numbers or between the numbers and the hash that are looking inside. And our deep wings then are looking outside in. And we do a good job here. Both of the deep wings recognize that the kick has not gone that deep. So they held their position. Good choice. You know, this kickoff only goes down to about like maybe the 15-yard line. So they held their position, distance is your friend, and we observe these blocks. Keep in mind, deep wings, that when you have action near the sideline, you need to make sure that you know if a teammate player goes out of bounds, how we got there. When in doubt, we're going to give the benefit of the doubt to the player that goes out of bounds, that contact put him out. We don't use the terminology as forced out of bounds. If there's a question about it, contact contributed to him going out of bounds would be the vernacular. Okay, next clip. This is going to be a really nice read and react by our deep three. As you know, this is a priority for us this year that we really need to improve on. We recognize the deep fade. We get good distance. Our back judge is right on the goal line. He's set up shop. Um, he's waiting for this to receive this play at the goal line. This is a nice job. Even the deep wing at the top of the screen recognized this coming from the other side of the field and got good depth. And then our deep wing at the bottom of the screen is right where he needs to be at the goal line to receive the play. So really nice job with read and react. The only way that we're going to do that and get it right on a consistent basis is if our technique as deep three officials is adhered to every play, starting with our scissor stance and then getting our feet moving, shuffling if you're a deep wing, perhaps backpedaling a couple steps if you're a back judge, and then making the decision that you're going to transition to that full commitment to your cushion by opening the hip and going with your shoulders square to the sideline. So we're going to continue to talk about this every week with the idea that the more we talk about it, the more you talk about it, the better we're going to be at it. Good job by this crew. Another really top game in the state, Brighton at Chelsea, two traditional programs. It must have been a fun game to work. All right, we're near the end here. We're going to have a marginal holding call at the point of attack. Or excuse me, that's a miss no call at the point of attack. Couldn't read my own writing. What we're going to get, tight end is going to slant. Tight end at the top of the screen is going to slant towards the middle. Now, hopefully that gains the attention of the deep wing because that's the widest. No, it wasn't the widest receiver. That should get the attention of the short wing. Now, he's got to watch him, but he also has a responsibility for that tackle. And what you're going to see here as this tackle is going to do a little hook and turn of this player that comes and he spins him around 360. That is a foul that we'd like to see down for grab and restrict because the quarterback is still in close proximity and he may well have been able to make a play. All right, next play. All right, we're going to have multiple issues on this free kick. First of all, looks to me like we had encroachment. Now, once again, whether you're the umpire or the back judge, if this is a deep kick, we're going to be fine with that. All right. That's on the outside border because he's got a foot down. All right. So I would even be good on a deep kick if we nailed this for encroachment, because that kick, that ball is just leaving his foot. Nonetheless, the point is that we're going to be pretty liberal with things as long as the kick goes deep. Here it doesn't go deep. So we need to get this down as a foul and we need to stop it. Now, that's a real inequity, in my opinion, of the Federation rule is that the team B should have the benefit of declining that foul if they recover the football. But that'll be a discussion for another day. All right, so that's the first issue. But now the second issue becomes this ball at the restraining line. Now, this player that comes up right there at the 50, where does this touch occur? Does this touch occur at the 50-yard line? Does it occur at the 49 and a half? That becomes critical because if you deem this touch to be at the 50 or beyond, it's a legal touch, and we should have a wind of the clock. And then whatever happens, whoever recovers is going to have the ball. So that's point number one. Point number two, and it's really not clear, right? So we're going to pose this as a hypothetical. Um, let's say that this player goes up and physically bats the ball. The idea being that he doesn't think that he can recover it cleanly, and he wants to bat it further downfield in hopes that his teammate can recover it closer to the goal line. All right, if we have a bat, you can't bat a ball forward. So if we deem this to be a bat, instead of a beanbag, we need to have a flag down. So then the question becomes, as in this case, where Team B eventually recovers this ball, can that bat, if it had occurred, can that be enforced in addition to the recovery? Now, I've asked, and I think I've got a pretty good answer to that. This is going to be your test question for the week that I want you to talk about as a crew. What are you going to do with this if you rule this to be a bat and Team B recovers? Okay. Then the final point is, even though we've ruled that this touching is prior to the 50-yard line and therefore is illegal, we still need to finish this play by the deep wing coming down and squaring it off and completing it. Okay. So we don't finish this play. We get the part where we rule that the touching is before the 50. That's all well and good. But now we have to finish the play by coming down, squaring off progress, determining, separating players, which they do pretty quickly. All right. So remember to finish plays. All right. Last clip of the night is well, actually two more, 63. This is going to be a kick return, and we're going to get a good read and react by our front four people here. Pretty standard blocking, really doesn't seem to be that big of a problem. Now, you can see that we've got our deep wing at the top, we've got our deep wing at the bottom, back judge in the middle of the field. We read this, we keep our depth, we end up with a fumble on the play. Now, we get the beanbag out, which is good. Let me just mention on fumbles why we beanbag the fumble. Has nothing to do with statisticians or anything else. Fumbles are beanbagged in the event that during the loose ball, there's a foul by the return team or the team in possession at the beginning of the play. That's the only reason why we put a beanbag down on a fumble. So make note of where the fumble occurred. Just get the bag out there on the way so that we recognize that we've got a fumble. We can readjust the bag later on in the event that we need to use it, which is rare. But we have to then continue to officiate. We can't assume that this blue player is going to end up recovering the ball. This ball may continue to be muffed. And the sideline may become an issue theoretically. Maybe the goal line becomes an issue. So we have to maintain our cushion. Okay, so don't get overly concerned about a beanbag. Now, the deep wing recognizes this is not his spot. He's waiting for the short wing to come. And overall, I would say that we handled this probably at a B, maybe a B plus. How this would have been an A would have been simply getting the beanbag out, continuing with our cushion another 5 to 7 yards downfield. But overall, a good job by the crew. All right, number 97 is our concluding play for tonight. Unusual formation to some degree, as long as everyone's on the line of scrimmage, we're good. Here's a situation where We probably anticipate that the kick returner is going to field this ball in the air or certainly on a bounce, but we can't presume that. So remember, distance is your friend. Continue to give ground. He chooses not to field it, and we wait a little bit long before we start giving ground. Now, all's well that ends well, I guess, because we didn't have a problem here, but it's not always going to turn out that way. That's why we want to keep you going back. Back judge does a nice job with the cushion here, keeps his depth, continues to retreat with some shuffling, and then is prepared to come up if necessary. So always, always, always respect your cushion. All right, as previously mentioned, this is the week where we're going to make the most progress. We're probably going to start getting into league play. So teams are going to be familiar with each other, rivalries, um, old issues that they've had from years gone by, whether somebody ran up the score or whatever it happens to be. So we have to be on our A game, just like we had to be last week. But like I say, with conference play, now we've got to turn it up another notch or two to make sure that we are performing at the near the top of our game. We're going to expect that we're going to continue to progress individually, that we're going to continue to progress as a deep three, as well as a crew as we move forward. And the only way we can do that is if we remain open and honest with each other and we're willing to accept as well as provide constructive criticism to our brothers and our sisters. The other thing that I would say, and it's just a general reminder in terms of the people that were on the video tonight, most of it very, very good. Some of it, we need to make some adjustments. Don't play that Mickey Mouse game about not being supportive of our brothers and our sisters out in the field. Um, if you can learn from something that they can do better, then that's what you ought to do. But just know that the next time it might be you in the barrel. So respect that. You can see from tonight how significant and important it is for us to get clips from around the state, from different games, different perspectives, different kinds of plays. So please continue to do that. Know that I will have your back um, when you share a clip that maybe it's not your finest moment. If you've officiated any length of time, you know that there are some times where things don't go according to plan and maybe even look a little bit silly. Most of you know, and I've told you in the past, that I was on that crew where it was Oklahoma State and Central Michigan, where we allowed a down that was not permitted by rule at the time. Rule has since changed. We would have been right if the rule had been what it was, the way it is now. But that was not my finest moment, but I learned a lot from it, and I was willing to talk about it, and became a better man and a better official as a result of it. So would encourage you to do that, and just know that I will always support you, not only in our meetings, but on the field in your work moving forward. So um, good luck this week. Have fun with it. But remember, the most fun you're going to have is when you do this really, really well. Um, it makes it even more enjoyable. And we're going to make our living not on the number of flags we throw, but the quality of those flags that we do throw and how well we cover the field and manage the game. So with that, thank you very much. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next week.